great afternoon. Happy and blessed Wednesday. I should say great morning for some, wherever and when you're watching. For those who are new to my podcast, welcome. I'm glad you are here. And for those who do not know me, my name is Catherine Barnett, but I go by Cat. And this is the Cat Barnett podcast. And I'm just super excited and grateful this early afternoon, y'all, for several reasons. But one is because your girl is feeling a lot better. Last week I was fighting for my life, and in Jesus' name I prevailed, and I'm feeling way better than I did. So thank you, Jesus. And another thing is, I am officially on episode 30. And, for someone who, struggled to do their first podcast over 6 months ago and now am on episode 30 consistently, I just don't know who this is, but I just been very grateful and proud that, I had people supporting me from the jump and, just had good people in my corner and got to give glory to God. So thank you, Jesus, for that. And, I'm also just super excited because I have an official guest with me on episode 30 that is going to just spread value to you guys. And I just cannot wait. And, I also am just super excited because this person I've known for about 2 years now, and our relationship keeps growing. And, she is just the epitome of a warrior. I like to say a lupus warrior. And her story is just very powerful, and I can't wait for you guys to hear her story. I'm not going to go into big detail on that. I want her to be able to tell you guys from her mouth herself. And then I also forgot to do my little intro of that I also help empower people, women, particularly who struggle with confidence in their faith and fitness by implementing strategies to gain clarity, direction, and purpose. All right. And now that we have that out of the way, back to, just introducing my special guest. We love to call her Smiles because I feel like no matter what her emotion is, she is always smiling. And you will see that today. So you'll hear me calling her AKA Smiles a lot. But I'm just grateful for her because she is one of the few that really pushed me to get this podcast going, maybe even threatened me a little bit, but it's all good. It was out of love. So, um, if you guys could please give me and her a warm welcome in introducing Tenille Stewart. Did you make the podcast? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Hello, I can hear you. Hi. You didn't gotta tell everybody that I threatened you. That could have been just between us. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, I want them to know who we dealing with. No, but
yeah. I
but
cannot
no.
just see all that potential and then not tell you about it. So you're welcome, everyone, audience.
Well, I really appreciate it. And like I like to tell my guests, I'm the type of woman that likes to give a person their flowers, before they're gone. So I just really want to say I appreciate you for always being a supportive person in my corner and for continuing to push me even when I don't want to do stuff. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. I'll bully you anytime, friend. Anytime.
Well, appreciate you. And Tenille just did a mastermind class. Awesome. So we'll talk about that a little later and where you can find her to see what she's got going on. But before we get too far into this episode, Tenille, aka Smiles, tell the people watching it live, listening in, or even catching the replay, who is Tenille Stewart, aka Smiles? Tell us a little bit about yourself and your story.
My name is Tenille Stewart, aka Smiles, because that is my default face. I cannot help it. And it's so big. No one, it is what it is. I help women who've been diagnosed with lupus or other chronic illnesses go from confused and discouraged to healed, hopeful, and in control of the medical narrative. I really focus on. I've had a couple men in my corner this past month, but I really focused on making sure that people with chronic illnesses feel empowered and feel like they have direction and they continue to do the things that they wanted to do before they ever got sick, or continue to dream the way that they dreamt before they ever got sick, and realize that they have the final say in their medical care. They can say no, they can find other uh, methods of treating themselves with guidance from professionals. Like, it's guidance, it's your body and on your terms, and you deserve to feel like you're a part of the treatment, and you deserve to feel like a confident human being that is capable and still human, not just sick.
Amen. I love that. I love that. And we need more people like you, because when I met you, I didn't know too much about lupus. And then now I feel like I know a lot more. And then I start seeing like people who have survived, chronic illnesses. And even, like the story you had a couple of weeks ago on your podcast about his wife, that was very, very sad that didn't survive.
Yeah.
But I've also didn't know, because you don't know what you don't know, but I didn't know it was so life threatening. So I definitely would love if you can, tell people, like, what year, um or how old you were, if you don't mind, that you were diagnosed with lupus. And then I guess for anybody watching who doesn't even know what lupus is, kind of explain what that illness is.
Okay, yeah. When I got diagnosed, I had no idea what it was. I was a teenager, anyways. I was 19 years old, so like 100 years ago. And I was diagnosed, I think it was 2004, 5, something like that. And yeah, so 100,000 years ago.
Oh,
And
over
yeah,
20 years ago.
yeah, literally, I've been a lupus warrior for about 20 years, just about. Um, and I had no idea what it was. And I found out, I Googled it immediately. Well, Google wasn't as good as Google is now. Like, it was a time. But I looked it up immediately, and I found that it is, number one, life threatening. There is no cure. I was like, okay, that's great, awesome. So roundabout, what it is your immune system is confused, and instead of attacking, it's not only confused, it's efficient and strong, and not it's attacking the wrong things in your body. So it identifies, instead of like a cold virus, it's identifying maybe your skin or your heart or your lungs. It's identifying something that is a healthy cell in your body and attacking it as if it were an intruder, as if it were a disease, as if it were a virus. So um, it can kill you because it is your immune system being super strong and trying to get rid of whatever it is. So heart, lungs, any organ, any vital organ, skin, the biggest organ in the body, like all of the things. Um, so you normally die of a complication to lupus. So you like I've gotten pneumonia probably 6 or 7, probably 6 times in my life, and
Wow.
yeah, and it's basically that I would get like a little cold, but it gets so aggressive to the cold that it turns into a bronchitis, and then this and that, and then I'm laid out with you know pneumonia in the hospital and that kind of thing. Like I had all kinds of, I could go on forever. I've been in the hospital 3 months at a time. Several times I've lost all my hair. I've learned how to walk again twice. I've lived in a rehab facility. I'm in medical journals for being amazing at not dying. Like, it's a lot of things, you know?
Yes, yes. And like, you kind of touch base on a little bit of those adversities that you went through because, on my podcast, I like to tell people like, adversity is a strength. It's not a vulnerability. It's a something that you need to embrace because it helps shape you into the person you're meant and called to be. Because like even 6.5 years ago, I was in trouble with a DUI that thank God I've overcame now, but it helped shaped me into the person I am truly growing into today. So that adversity is something that I used to like be ashamed of, be like, oh, this is not the person I am, but now I'm like, it put me on the right path into the women that I'm growing into. So, I know just knowing a little bit about your story, can you please touch base on like how your life changed when you were diagnosed with lupus and like, I know just knowing your story, some of the adversities you faced, but if you can tell people what adversities that you were faced with that like you didn't think that you were going to overcome, but that you did overcome.
Man, it's crazy. First of all, I want to backtrack to the story that you were telling, okay? Because as a first generation American like you, your parents be parenting very aggressively. And if any kind of trouble that you get into, they go ham. It's not like American parents are like, oh, gentle parents. And like, little Timmy had to go to his room. No, we're threatened. Our lives are threatened. And we are afraid to be human beings anymore. We're like, oh, they might kill me.
Yes.
So,
Shame and disgrace to the family, all the
yes,
things.
yes.
Yes.
And you are, just know, you are such a brave woman. You are such a quiet storm because you really don't always say too much, but you carry yourself in such a way that is graceful and so like
Mm,
strong, and all of the things that you talk about that you were ever ashamed of, it it's crazy to me because you never show that. You never show that you would be ashamed of anything. Your head is always held high. Your crown is always straight. So I commend you for talking about that on the internet because I know it's hard and I know you didn't want to because we're bothering you to do it. But you're
yes.
doing such a good job.
Thank you so much, Tenille. I appreciate those kind words because it's
You
true.
are welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. The bullying, like, look at this smile. I bully you straight with a smile. It's fine. Okay, so yeah, there was several times in my life that I really didn't know if I would survive. I immediately, when I was diagnosed at 19, in that it took 8 months of testing, and I wasn't eating. I was just drastically losing weight, getting weaker and sicker, and nobody knew what was wrong with me. It still can take a really long time to diagnose somebody with lupus because it kind of can mask many other things, and then you just kind of have to test for the right DNA at the right time because it'll go up and down. It can be a long process or it can be immediate. It's all weird. So in that, when I finally got my diagnosis, my rheumatologist said to me straight to my face, like, at the rate you're going right now, and with what we've seen in other cases, I don't see you living to 30 or beyond. And it was just dead silent in the room, and it's me, my mother, and I'm looking at him, and looking at my mom, and looking at him, and no one is saying a word, and that he just left that statement to linger in the air, and I just broke down crying because I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I'm not even legal to drink, and you're talking about I'm gonna be dead. Like, what year am I dying? How do you know this? Like, did you talk to God? What is like? I was so upset. I was gutted, and
Do
after
you
that,
remember how old you were at the time when he gave you that diagnosis?
No, that was 19. That was 19 years old. That was
Wow.
19. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I was, he was basically like, you're lucky that you made it this far in the 8 months of like, I couldn't eat anything, couldn't keep water down. I was surviving on Pedialyte popsicles. And that was the
Mm.
time when he was like, we're gonna have to hook you up to some IVs because your electrolyte balance isn't keeping, and you're not eating enough of these popsicles. And I just bawled. I just cried because I didn't know how I was gonna survive. And uh nobody gave me any success stories. They gave me a lot of whatever I told anybody after that too for a while. Oh yeah, I got diagnosed with lupus. I'd be like, oh, so and so died of that. Yeah, I know that. I know lupus. So and so died from that. And I was like, oh, I'm never talking to you again. You suck. Like it was crazy. So it took me a minute to like. I'm the daughter of a professional athlete. My father was a world class boxer, heavyweight boxer. Fought Mike Tyson, Evander Holyfield, George Foreman, Michael Moore, all the people, right? He did not instill in me, God rest his soul, he did not instill in me to be to back down from a fight. Like if you don't have to fight, don't fight. But do not back down. If it's your time to fight, you fight like hell. So after some mourning of what this man told me my life was gonna be, I did a bunch of research and got on the right track to where I am today. And I am grateful for that adversity because I cherish my life so much more. Every time that I've had a major flare up that I've ended up in the hospital, there's been times they told me I would never speak again. And I'm a singer. I went to college
Mm.
for classical voice and piano. Uh, so the heartbreak that I felt when they were like, "Oh, you're never going to speak again," they told me I was never going to walk again. They told me I would not be alive. I'm 39 today. I mean, since November. So I'm 10 years almost past when he said I wouldn't even survive to. So all of that I'm grateful for. There's not a time. You don't build muscle by not lifting heavy weights. You don't, the muscles need to tear and repair in order to grow. So and you're a fitness girly, so I know like it's painful to do the work to get the skills that you need to do the things you need to do. I believe the skills I needed uh, to gain from all this sickness and all of these flare-ups and months in hospitals and learning to walk again and feeling the pain and having the super empath heart that I have, it's I can't just watch other people go through it and not see what I can do to help. Even though I did, just like you didn't want to do this, I didn't. I was like, no, I can do something else. But the way God is set up, He will chase you down until you do what your assignment is, and it just is what it is. Like people don't need to be alone in this fight. Like it is a fight. I'm not telling you it's not, but you deserve to have a big, beautiful life, even with any kind of diagnosis that you have. Making the best of it is key. Learning the workarounds is key. Learning where you can go to get the tools that you can use to live that big, beautiful life is key. Get you a coach. It not be me. Somebody. You need somebody with direction who's been there, who knows how to do these things, okay? Illness is no fun, and no one has ever asked for it or gone to find it. It is something that is happening to you for whatever reason. And let's not make it just happen to you. Let's make the lessons that you learn from it and happen through you, right? Maybe the lessons that you need to learn that somebody else in your life needs are happening right now in the illness. Don't miss it. Don't take a hardship for granted and not take those lessons from it. Don't just suffer. Suffering is a choice. You don't have to suffer. Pain is real. Suffering is a choice you are making. Figure out what you can do to be proactive, to make yourself feel better, and to still live your life.
Oh.
That's a big question.
Oh no, we could have. I could have dropped this mic right now because when you get on your preaching, I'll be like, yes, let's go. Because there was so many key things said there that I hope people caught that. And if you didn't, that's why there's a replay. But just to reiterate some of the things is okay, for one, thank God you are a fighter because that's in your blood. And, now you can really live to tell people your story and help people that are going through the same things. So, God be the glory for that.
Amen.
And secondly, 39 where? Look at this, y'all. This is a woman that is still thriving at 39 with lupus. So just know you can still fight through any chronic illness and thrive and look your best and live your best. So, and then, I really loved how you touched base on, you don't have to do the fight alone because I feel like so many people already feel like they're, kind of different since they got that chronic illness that they're like isolated and not, like a typical whatever you want to say a healthy normal person is, where I feel like maybe I'm not speaking from experience, so you could tell me if this may be true, but it may be easier to isolate yourself and go through it alone without probably trying to reaching out and feel like you're burdening anyone or putting, your, pain on anyone.
Right.
So, just speaking from being an outgoing introvert, I just am speaking that I feel
Yeah.
like sometimes it's easy to isolate yourself when you go through things than to reach out or, you
Yeah.
know, ask for help when I had to learn too, that's not weakness. That's actually very courageous and strong to ask for help, and to lean on now I'm really big on leaning on community, like or
Mhm.
asking community to pray for you if you need prayer or just for advice. So it's like um I really and when I really strengthen my relationship with God, we're really not meant to do this life alone. So we're meant
Yeah.
to do it with other people and community. So I really loved how you touched base too on you don't have to do the fight alone. Always reach out to someone that's going through it or has been through it, or even just someone that you feel like you can trust, that
Right.
has or can be in your corner. So I love
Wait,
that you said that as well.
I want to say something about that. So, when you are helping someone, right? You help them from your scars, not from your wounds. Okay, so like if you're really in it right now, and you think you have the lessons down, you might, but also you might want to lean in and listen and figure it out some more before you talk about it, because being in the mess, it's very hard to see what's going on outside. Like you can't see what's going on from inside the house. So uh I would say, yeah, find somebody who's been through it, who's more experienced in the situation, whatever it is, and like do ask for help. Now it's hard because you don't want to feel like you're begging or like, oh, so and so always needs this and they always need that. It's an embarrassing feeling. I That's how I used to feel. I can't even say used to. Occasionally, I feel I'm like, oh, I don't want to ask for help. Why? But you get stronger when you are doing it properly. So when you're asking the right questions, the right people, you get the right tools, and you can. It's like when you're lifting weights again. If you're doing it in proper form, you're just throwing weights around, not doing anything. If you're doing it in the right form and you're feeling it in the right muscles, and you gotta really have the technique to get
Mm,
uh, the results that you're really looking for. So
mm.
ask for help from the people who know what they're talking about. Continue.
Yes, thanks for touching base on that. And I think also on the receiving end is like if that person is coming to you for help, like you need to, give that person grace because you don't know what they're going through. So, you don't completely understand. So you need to at least, do your best to understand, do your research and try to at least, you know, figure out or try to just be there for them the best way you can be, without knowing what they're truly going through as well, is
Mhm.
what I'm
Being a
what
great
I
listener. Yeah.
yes, I love that. And so now that you've, like you said, you've been since that diagnosis, you said over, no, it's 10 over 20 years since that diagnosis.
About 20 years. About 20.
About 20 years. Okay. So, you're still here and you are still, living your life and now teaching others to get through chronic illnesses. So, what would you say, like, what are some steps or what steps are you taking now, to thrive and be healthy despite still having lupus?
Okay. So I it took such a long time, but I identified my triggers. So everyone is not triggered by the same thing. Every human body is just not functioning exactly the same. And I know that my trigger, one of my biggest triggers, are stress. And a lot of people are triggered by stress, but like I'm a vegan now that I've been vegan for almost about to be 9 years. And that really, really helped me think. That really helped me. Um, Eating things that I had no business eating were a stressor on my body.
Mm,
And uh, digesting things that inflamed me every day was just ridiculous. You never know how, like, you never know how bad you're feeling until you feel good for the first time. And after my first, like, 30 days of being vegan, I was like, well, what was I doing? Like, why was I
mm,
eating that stuff? Um, and I am active. I make sure I get some kind of activity every day, even if it's like I do bed yoga if I can't get out of bed. I will walk. I love to walk, be outside. Getting control of my mind and emotions is huge, 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 huge. Because even if you are going into a flare up, even if you are not well, uh, panicking about it, melting down about it, fighting your pain is gonna make it 10 times worse. Like there's nothing else you can like. I'm real sarcastic and silly about illness, and it's because like nothing else is any other kind of emotion isn't helping, right? So like I like to find a way to laugh as much as possible. I like to eat well, drink water and mind my business. Yes. And yeah, I literally like I'm ingesting media that's not gonna make me crazy or upset or like, you know, finding ways to control your mind, the way you're thinking, what you're thinking about, people around you, your tribe, your stress, all the things like that, like little lifestyle changes that people should be doing anyways, in my are what is keeping me good. Like I am not on any medication right now. I am, advocating for my loopies and interacting with the loopies. If you are a chronic illness person, be mindful of the people who you interact with, even if they also have a chronic illness, because everyone is not there yet where they want to be happy or where they're ready to accept that this is what their life is and improve it incrementally. Some people are mad. Some people are complacent, being depressed. And
mm,
don't let them drag you down. That's why I didn't do support groups. I didn't want to interact with Louise for a long time, because it was just a lot of like everyone sitting in a circle crying, basically. Like no one
mm,
wanted to do anything better. And then I found personal development and God and all the things that I've implemented in my life, and mentors, and built it up and built it up and built it up. But if you're just starting and you just, newly diagnosed and don't know where to go, find the most positive people in your life. Even if they don't understand what's going on with you, being around positive people, driven people, people who have direction, want things out of life, is going to do you good. Period.
Yes, thanks for bringing that up, Tenille, because I think people might not think about that even people with lupus or chronic illnesses, they're not everybody is on the same like journey, or some people are farther along. Like some people probably just haven't accepted it or going through um depression through it, and some people are probably, like you said, accepted it a little better. So yeah, thanks for bringing that up as well, because I think we tend to sometimes think like, oh, everyone with chronic illness is going to feel the same, and that's not the case. So and one thing you said that I was like, ooh, I love that, because you were like, you never knew how bad you were feeling until you felt better. And I was like, oh, that, I mean, that can go with a lot of things in life.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really love that. And I really commend you being vegan, because I'm a pescatarian and I've been doing that for almost 8 years. And that has also transformed my life as well and helped me in so many different ways. So maybe one day I'll get to vegan, but I ain't there yet. But I
You're
owe it.
doing great. You're doing better than so many people. And I'm not saying that to guilt anybody, right? Like, I wasn't born vegan. My favorite food as a kid was oxtail. So I've eaten all the things. Um, it's just that when you know better, you can implement better. You can, learn better, and take a little steps. Do a meatless Monday. Do just, you know, make small, better choices for yourself, for your body, for the planet, all the things. I can go on forever. Vegan for
She's like vegan forever, vegan
life.
forever. But no, that's amazing, and I love the tips that you gave, that you're thriving and being healthy. Those are tips that like people who just want to be healthy in general can take as well. So you guys, yeah, incorporate some of those tips and just see how you guys feel, because I mean, I think there's no better time than now to strive to just be the healthiest version of yourself, as while being the best version of yourself. So that's what I'm striving for, and trying to help others see that they can do that as well. So really, it's crazy how fast this podcast has already been going, because it's been good
Yeah.
conversation. But really, the you can add whatever you want to add, and you've been doing so great, so thank you. But really, a question that I have, that I feel like it might be my final one, is like, if you could give any advice, or if you could say three things to someone with a chronic illness who is scared, or just wants to give up, what would you say to them?
Three things. Wow, wow, wow. Well, first I would tell them, if you're scared right now, right? If you're in a lot of pain and you don't know how you're gonna get through, you need endorphins right now. So I would ask you to, if you can move your arms, if you can wrap your arms around yourself like this, wrap your arms around yourself, uh, and give yourself a hug, because the endorphins that you get from getting a hug and giving a hug normally, you can still get them when you're giving yourself a hug. Science. So give yourself a hug and reassure yourself. You're calming your nervous system right now. Take 5 deep breaths, really strong deep breaths, and just know, even if you're lying to yourself, even if you don't understand, just know everything is going to be okay. Coddle yourself like a baby. Like, I'm going to be okay. Everything is going to be okay. You've made it every day until now, and you're alive, and you've made it through all the hard things you just made it through, even though you just got diagnosed. You're going to be okay. That's number one. Number two, I would say be mindful of the way you are treating yourself and the people around you as you go through this illness. It is very easy to be short when you're in pain and angry and rude to the people who care about you and love you, and even to yourself. Your body is not punishing you. Your body is doing its very best to protect you right now. It's doing its very best to fight for you right now. Give it some credit. Give it some love, and be as kind as you possibly can. If you don't have enough spoons to do all the things that you intended to do today, give yourself grace. It is okay. Do the best you can today, and then get up and do it tomorrow, whatever you can. And third, dang, I had it and I forgot now. Hold on. Third. I'm gonna say this wasn't it. I had a third, but I forgot now. So I'm gonna say, let's pray about it. Instead of worrying about it, let's pray about it. Give it away, and if you can't pray with just like your mind and your words, write it down. Write it down. All the things that you're scared. I have journals. I have journals from when I was first diagnosed. Those things. No one could ever see those. They crazy. But like everything I was thinking and all the things that scared me, and how, all the things that people were telling me that my life was going to be like. And just getting it out though feels really good. If you can't afford therapy, you got a pen and a paper, and that can be so much therapy. So do that, And then number 4, get a coach named Tenille.
You heard it, y'all. From Tenille Stewart herself. If you're struggling with anything, get her and she will help you out. But no, all jokes aside, I really did love your number 3, probably better than the one you forgot. Because
Yeah.
there's nothing better than prayer. Prayer, I truly believe, changes things, and it can, no matter what a doctor diagnoses you with. God will always have the final say.
Amen.
And look at Tenille also, number 1, throwing science in there. I might even give myself a hug nowadays
Yeah.
when I need it as a pick me up. So thank you for that. And I just really appreciate you for being on here, Tenille, because I know with your schedule, you're always running around. We were even running around this
Yeah.
morning.
I was like, girl.
We still made it work. So
Yes.
I just really appreciate you for hopping on here. And yeah, before you get off, I would love if you can, tell people watching this and gonna watch the replay, and all those people out there with chronic illness, if they just need another person in their corner, and just need someone to also give them the tips and information, where can they find you on all the socials and on social media?
Okay, socials. I am Tenille _ the captain on Instagram. I am Tenille Stewart on Facebook. I am Tenille Stewart with some numbers, but just look for me on YouTube. And on Tickety Tockety, I am Tenille EY. Tenille EY. So silly on Tickety Tockety. I do affirmations every single day. It's 706 days of affirmations that I've done so far. Yeah.
Talk about consistency, y'all. That is the definition of consistency. And I loved it. And it was so good that I usually like read the comments as I'm going along that people have said, and I didn't even read one. I'm sorry.
Oh wow. Oh wow.
It was just that good. But people were saying value, outstanding podcast, great share and value. They love that you said give yourself a hug. Um, and those were great advice and tips that you gave, and to also that get a coach, that was great advice. And they just loved that we did this podcast. They said it was a fantastic podcast as usual, and that we always bring it home. Thanks for sharing this today. So
Aw.
Tenille, thank you so much for being on and spreading value and your light and your smiles. So,
Thank you so much for having me. I like was me when you asked me. I was like, what? Thank you so much.
of course, after I seen some episodes, I was like, I gotta get her on here,
Um,
talking about it and how she's still thriving. So, yeah, appreciate you making the time, and be on the lookout for both of us, y'all. We have definitely things in the works, and we will continue to spread value and just continue to see what we have in store. So, with that being said, everybody have a great rest of your afternoon, your Wednesday, and a greater rest of the week. Peace, love, and blessings to all. God bless. Bye bye.